The Warriors have won 9 straight, but more importantly, they didn't trade away one of the best 21-year-olds in the NBA like their Northern California rivals. I'm Dieter Kurtenbach. This is Locked On Warriors. Let's do this thing.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Warriors. It's Tuesday, a victory Tuesday for the Golden State Warriors. Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen. We are free and available on all platforms, but you already knew that. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. It should be noted that the Warriors did not cover in Oklahoma City last night. They were 12.5-point favorites. They won by 12. But Klay Thompson is all the way back. My goodness, what a performance from Klay Thompson in the clutch. And I have bellyached plenty over the last couple of months about what I thought was perhaps the only weakness for the Golden State Warriors, which is late game, crunch time, half-court offense. And it's been good. I've probably oversold the severity of the problem here, KMBR, columns, anywhere. But last night, you could see in microcosmic form what I was talking about. Oklahoma City, they're long. They got Lou Dort. They're putting them on Steph Curry. They got a bunch of young kids who got nothing to lose. They're down by 16 in the second half, and they just whittle it away. 11-2 run, I believe it was, in the fourth quarter, just whittling it away. Game slows down. Half-court defense comes through. The City Thunder were playing a full-court offensive game because they were constantly in transition. The Warriors were playing a half-court game and turning it over a lot. It was an issue. It was a problem. It's not something that I was thrilled watching. I was thinking, hey, the Dubs are going to choke this thing away, even though they had a really nice cushion not that long ago, even though the clock is now under 4 minutes and they got a tempo. All of these factors, you say the Warriors are going to win this game. Luckily, I don't think you turned it off because we had to see Klay Thompson come through not once but twice to seal the contest. And the ball was in Steph Curry's hands as if it should be in anybody else's hands in that situation. It was really interesting to see the way Klay Thompson got those two shots up and in for the Warriors to seal the game. And then Curry added his own three in the final minute or so to effectively end it, as if it wasn't already over when Klay Thompson went full game 6 on those dudes in Oklahoma City. I know the team's a shell of itself, but that dude loves that arena. He loves that sightline. He loves the fans in Oklahoma City. I don't know what it is, but my man has vengeance on his mind. He did it against the Sacramento Kings, who we will talk about in just a moment. Thank goodness we waited a little bit to do this podcast this morning. But Klay Thompson, man, pure as mountain rain, pure as that mountain stream. I mean, just wet, wet, wet jumpers. And here's how they happen. Steph Curry gets 2 high screens, one with Klay Thompson, one with Kevon Looney. Thompson slips off as Looney goes down. They do another quick screen. It leaves Klay Thompson wide open. It's very classic, simple basketball. 3 points for Klay Thompson at the top of the key. The second time was actually more interesting. It was a Steph, I believe, isolation, though you could probably call it a quasi-isolation. 5-out opportunity. Everybody get the hell up out of the way. It looked like Steph was going to go one-on-one, and the natural gravity of Steph Curry just pulled number 7 for Oklahoma City, just pulled Klay's defender at the left wing just a little bit too far towards the middle of the court. And Steph just made a simple chest pass, hit him, and Klay Thompson just knocked it down. No hesitation. Now, am I still concerned about the half-court offense for the Warriors? Yeah, okay, because again, you're nitpicking. Like, I'm nitpicking here. You have to find something to be upset about. I don't get upset about the Warriors' lack of size for reasons that Steve Kerr explained last night. So this is the next best thing, which is to say it's probably not that big of an issue. This is an outstanding basketball team, a well-rounded basketball team. If you're not concerned about size, if you're not concerned about turnovers, and I am not, I think it's fair to wonder if they're going to be a great half-court offense come crunch time situations. Now, Klay Thompson might alleviate a lot of those concerns. Klay Thompson might fix that because it provides a next level spacer for Steph Curry. I love the closing lineup that the Warriors had last night. It was Looney, which was necessary, again, given the size differential and the fact that the Warriors were offensively rebounded by a 3-to-1 ratio by Oklahoma City, which we'll talk about. But it was Wiggins, who can shoot the three. Had a nice game, actually, from, nice first half, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc in the game. You had Wiggins, who can space the floor, and can put it on the floor, too, which is nice. You had Curry, obviously, pretty good option. Who else did you have? You had Jordan Poole on the floor in crunch time. Put him in the corner. Jordan Poole's an excellent shooter. You can put the ball on the floor, too. The way his game has become well-rounded is really fun to watch. Then you had Klay. And Klay's just going to be there. He's going to be at the point of attack. He's going to be right there, the number one outlet, the number 2 scorer on this team. The Warriors have looked for a consistent, steady number 2 scorer all season long. All season long. Sometimes it's Andrew Wiggins. Sometimes it's Jordan Poole. Sometimes it's Otto Porter. It was a mix match of everybody. Those guys were number 3 options, number 4 options, number 5 options. Sometimes they'd play number 2. They can still do that. No one's stopping them. Klay Thompson is a bona fide number 2. And sometimes that means he goes number 1, but he's a bona fide number 2. Oh, I forgot Jonathan Kuminga, who I do want to talk about. Thompson simply being there gives the Warriors the greatest catch-and-shoot player of all time, standing pretty darn close to where Steph Curry is. If they want to play a 2-man game, they got it. If that 2-man game is shut down, congratulations to Poole and Wiggins. You're about to have the easiest time of your life. And by the way, we haven't even seen this thing optimized, because when you put Draymond Green in there, now stuff starts to move. By the way, Warriors ball movement last night, exceptional. Really wonderful. And I'm bullish on the late game closing lineups if Jordan Poole consistently is part of that. And there will always be a mix and a match, and sometimes it will be Porter, but Andre Iguodala, I don't think, is part of the closing lineup anymore. I don't know what lineup Andre Iguodala is a part of moving forward, considering that his back tightened up after 6 minutes last night. Certainly Klay Thompson is a wonderful one. And by the way, you have to have Wiggins out there because Wiggins is going to be your point of attack defender. He is going to take on that Klay Thompson role that he held during the dynastic years. That's not going to be Klay Thompson moving forward. That said, offensively, I don't think that the dude, he might have lost 2 years and a half, but he didn't lose a step. He looks great. The minutes restriction's about to go adios. And what a huge pickup for the Golden State Warriors. What a huge addition Klay Thompson is. This guy is really, really, really good. And it was easy to forget that. It was easy to not remember exactly what he was after 2.5 years off. And by the way, I think that he's come out a little bit better. I think he's a new and improved version of Klay Thompson. The defense might not be there, but he's got a little bit of creativity. He's got the ability to put the ball on the ground. He's got the ability to pass. Maybe he always had it, never really used it that much. Regardless, it's showing up on the court today, and that's a positive thing. There's no negativity with that when it comes to the Warriors offense. Everybody should be able to do things like that, and he's not a ball stopper anymore. He's not a ball stopper anymore, and I think this Warriors offense still has levels to get to. Levels. And Draymond Green is going to unlock a lot of those levels. Maybe Jonathan Kuminga takes them a level or two on his own with his development. Moses Moody, second unit. I think there's some quality to be tapped into there. Jordan Poole has done a really nice job being a professional and handling this legitimately difficult transition from being someone who's asked to score 20-something a night to now being really the 4th option on this team, but a second unit ace. There's a lot of meat on this bone. There's a lot of positives to be gleaned. And yes, it's Oklahoma City. And I think that the reason that game ended up close is because the Warriors did an offensive rebound. And I don't think the Warriors offensive rebounded because they didn't really want to. They didn't really try. I don't think it was a length thing. I think it was just we're in Oklahoma City. We're playing a bunch of kids who should be in the G League or college. Why do we have to offensive rebound? Meanwhile, the City Thunder were out there with the full intent of rebounding. They were out there scrapping for every loose ball. They were playing hard. And I love that Dort kid. I think Giddey's going to be a really nice player. They got some pieces there in Oklahoma City, but they don't come close to what the Warriors have. And by the way, the Warriors had the best young piece on the floor last night. His name was Jonathan Kuminga. We'll talk about him in the second part of the show. For now, I want to tell you about TurboTax. People think unusual circumstances means complicated taxes, but for TurboTax Live experts, makes things interesting. You're giving them a challenge, they accept it. We all have unique lives, whether you're interested in crypto for the first time this year, too late, own an up-and-coming small business, or raising rambunctious twins. Wow, what an interesting trifecta there. Luckily, TurboTax Live has experts that can answer your tax questions, walk you through the whole process, or they can just do your taxes from start to finish. They help you get every deduction you deserve, no matter what your unique situation is, and you can even talk to a TurboTax Live expert on your phone or computer without leaving your house. Well, that's some quality. TurboTax Live experts are here to help whenever you need. And if you need an extra hand those taxes off to them. They'll do it all for you. TurboTax Live experts think an interesting life can mean an even greater refund. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Do your thing. They got your taxes. Inuit. TurboTax Live. Now let's talk about Jonathan Kuminga, because he was spectacular last night. He has been spectacular for the last couple of nights, if we're being true and honest about this. Last 3 games have provided incredible opportunities for Jonathan Kuminga. I think he has made the absolute most of them. The last 3 games, Warriors have played, it's a real who's who. Oklahoma City, Sacramento, and the San Antonio Spurs. And in each of those games, Jonathan Kuminga has played solid minutes, and he has provided solid scoring, and he has done 2 or 3 things a game where you just have your jaw drop. This is a guy who needs to be playing 20 minutes a night until the All-Star game. There's 5 games left. Yeah, 5. 5 games left until the All-Star break. I don't know when Draymond Green comes back. There's a 3-day window before the All-Star game. There's a 3-day window after the All-Star game. There's a 1 game against Portland on the road, followed by a nice couple of back-to-back days. The Warriors are going to get a little bit of a rest here at the end of February. 2 games over the last 2 weeks, more or less. I don't think we should expect Draymond Green back until March 1st, 2nd on that basis. I want Kuminga playing 20 minutes a night in every one of those games. Not necessarily because he's the best player for the job, but because I want to see the maximum potential of Jonathan Kuminga this season. I can't go into the month of March trying to figure out what the seeding is going to be, what the rotations are going to be, all this stuff. You can't go into that month without seeing what the maximum Kuminga is. You can't go in saying, oh, Kuminga will continue to progress over this next month, and then by April, X, Y, and Z. No, you have to lock in some stuff as you go into the bunker that is the month of March. My goodness, how many games the Warriors have in the month of March. So they do get just a 3-day break at one point, which I'm sure they would have loved to have spaced out at some other juncture. Nevertheless, you gotta give Kuminga as much run as you can. You gotta see where the limits are on this kid, because to this point, he hasn't bumped up against him. He hasn't. There have been bad games, don't get me wrong. He's 19 years old, and there were long stretches of his 23 minutes last night where he was the best player on the floor. And he was on the floor with Klay Thompson. He was on the floor with Stephen Curry. He was on the floor with Andrew Wiggins. He's on the floor with, well, I guess Lou Dort. Kuminga, 23 minutes, 6 of 11 from the floor. He didn't make a 3, 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. I'm concerned about his free throw shooting. He's also 19 years old, so I should shut the hell up. 4 assists, that's big. 4 rebounds, that's nice. Plus 12 in the game. Switched this game when he came in. Changed the tempo, changed the mood, changed the timbre of this game when he came in, and that is something that he has done again and again and again. Again, I want to be clear. The last 3 games have been against teams that Jonathan Kuminga is equal to, that Jonathan Kuminga, a youngster, should be going out and impressing with. The next couple of games, I want to see what happens, because Utah is not a team to be trifled with. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're a title contender, but they're certainly better than the City Thunder, Sacramento, or the Spurs. And by the way, I call them the City Thunder because it's funny and it's a long-standing joke, and it's the state of Oklahoma. And what kind of thunder is it? City Thunder. You don't have to laugh. It's fine. It's for me. Utah, the Knicks, okay, maybe the Knicks isn't a good example, but I would like to see him against Julius Randle and lock him down. Not that that's a hard thing to do anymore. Lakers, Clippers, Denver. Those are some challenges. Those are some possible playoff matchups. Those are some situations where Kuminga might find himself feeling like a rookie again. It hasn't looked like he's been a rookie for the last couple of games. You have to explore that space. The Warriors have won 9 straight games. They have plenty of cushion over Memphis. They're not concerned. It'd be nice to overtake Phoenix, but Phoenix doesn't lose. So who cares? Just roll this thing out and see what you have in full with Jonathan Kuminga so that you can dial your minutes for Kuminga. And I guess I'm speaking to Steve Kerr and Mike Brown here. Dial your minutes for Kuminga into an appropriate amount before Draymond comes back. So you have a better idea before Draymond comes back. And then you can take that and those minutes and push them into the postseason. Because, again, you just don't want to be figuring this out when you're hosting Boston halfway through March. Like I understand that I'm probably overstating how fast March is going to go, but it's going to go pretty fast. And right now, the Warriors have a chance to keep giving Kuminga a run, to keep seeing if he can bump up against that ceiling, just to keep seeing how he can positively and negatively affect the game. But right now, it has been almost all positive and very little negative. It's very exciting to watch on a night in, night out basis. Perhaps the most interesting storyline throughout this entire year. Yes, there's been so many great things that the Warriors have done, but this Kuminga thing, I just can't take my eyes off of him. He's so interesting. He's such a unique player for the Warriors. The athleticism is just jarring. We thought Andrew Wiggins was a top 1% athlete. I still think he's a top 1% athlete, but there are tranches inside of that 1%. And Jonathan Kuminga might be one of the finest athletes in all of American professional sports right now. I mean, this guy has a legitimate issue that he might hit his teeth on the rim. It's really been fun to watch, and I want to see more of it because I do think that a player with that level of athleticism, that level of versatility, that level of jump, who, by the way, is just picking things up so quickly, so easily. He is absorbing high-level NBA concepts at a rapid rate. He does something wrong in one game, he corrects it for the next one, and he never makes that same mistake again. It is fascinating to watch this again for a 19-year-old kid. This is the kind of guy who can help you in the playoffs. This is the kind of guy who can break a game open for you in the playoffs. He doesn't have to be a steady handy. You don't have to throw him on the court in the fourth quarter, but every now and again, he will be worthwhile to just say, break some stuff up, make some things happen. And by the way, you can play him at the 5 too. And I think that his potential at the 5 is just through the roof because of that leaping ability where he can basically touch the roof. So Jonathan Kuminga, another outstanding game. I just want to see more of him. I don't even need to see more outstanding games. I just want to see more of him. I want to see more of him against better teams because right now, I want to see him 30 minutes a night. I know that shouldn't be the case. I want to see where that kind of taps out. Let's talk about Jordan Poole for a second. Jordan Poole, outstanding game. I'm loving the all-around nature of his contest. 8 rebounds, 8 assists. That speaks volumes to me. I don't care that he had 11 points. 8 rebounds, 8 assists, getting to the line. Well, not last night, but most nights. What a pro. Credit to Jordan Poole. Professional performance. And the Warriors need that. The Warriors need Jordan Poole to be a professional. Not that he was ever unprofessional in any way, shape, or form, but they need him to be more Malcolm Brogdon. They need him to be more Tyrese Halliburton than right now they need him to be Jamal Crawford. Sometimes they'll need that Jamal Crawford, and hopefully he still has that in the tank. He has a multitude of personalities, I would imagine. But they need him to be more contained, more calm, more of an anchor with the second unit because, again, Andre Iguodala is not coming to anchor that second unit anytime soon. It's Jordan Poole and nobody else, so they need him to be in control of everything. I mentioned Halliburton. I mentioned Brogdon. They are now teammates in Indiana, which is stupid. It's stupid. Tyrese Halliburton is a better player than Domantas Sabonis. Full stop. Full stop. He's a two-way player. He's one of the most efficient players in the NBA. Sabonis is an all-star? Yes. I can't debate 2 all-star appearances. He's a one-way player. He's pretty nice on that one-way, but he's a one-way player, and he's not terribly efficient. I don't know what the Sacramento Kings are doing, but that is standard practice around these parts. So, yikes. I also want to give a big yikes to the New Orleans Pelicans trading for C.J. McCollum. this is a team that has a sub 40 winning percentage. They're in the play-in tournament. I understand that they're trying to sell tickets. I understand that they're trying to right this wrong. I don't think it was a particularly bad trade for either team, if we're being honest, though maybe you can make the argument for Portland because they seem to want to sell everything. I don't know if McCollum solves any of the questions that are being asked of the New Orleans Pelicans. And I don't know what the Pelicans' possible upside is other than maybe they overtake the Lakers in the standings. It's all very strange. It's all very peculiar. On the other side of this break, I want to tell you about Wednesday's game. Utah and the Warriors should be interesting. But first, I got to tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football reaches its march to, well, one final game. Yep, and the big one. That's the one. This copy needs to be updated. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. Okay. It's not just football. BetOnline has the latest up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, the NHL, boxing, UFC, and it has real live time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available in the 2022 season. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. So, Warriors are going to be playing the Utah Jazz on Wednesday. It's a road game. It's the first end of a back-to-back. There is going to be a schedule loss in here. It'll be interesting to see which game, either this one or Thursday, hosting the Knicks. It'll be interesting to see which one the Warriors decide to take. Though they have tried to take some schedule losses and have failed to do so. 9 straight on the trot. We'll see if Utah will be the one that upends them. Utah's a good regular season team. They're not a championship contender. My only advice out of this game, and we'll just see who plays and who doesn't for both teams. My only advice out of this game is do not make it a referendum. Do not read into it very far at all. Again, Utah, a good regular season team, though not that good as of late, and they're going to be a terrible postseason team. They don't have the athleticism. They don't have the efficiency, and their second best player is a 7'3" guy who can't move around much. Good luck to you, my friends in Utah. Enjoy your another 50-something win season and enjoy your first or second round exit from the postseason. Don't read into it. Don't try to say, oh, if Utah wins this game, that means that they're a true title contender now. It's a different sport. And the Warriors will have their issues once that new sport comes into play come playoff time. But they are one of 3, maybe 4, if you're being generous with the Miami Heat. One of 3, maybe 4 teams in the entire league that can actually win the title. I don't include Brooklyn in that conversation anymore. Perhaps by the time we talk next, Brooklyn will have made a dramatic trade, and we will change our minds on that. In the meantime, we will talk to you tomorrow, and stay golden.